Good evening, Bahamas. On the broadcast tonight, the Christian Council president says government needs to do more to fight crime. Plus,
the Minister of Labor is disappointed that customs and immigration officers haven't been paid. That story's coming up straight ahead.
And one organization is calling for more public consultation on that contentious interception of communications bill. Welcome to our news, the weekend edition, and thanks for joining us. I'm Andrew Knowles. Topping news tonight, he may have been silent on the issue of crime for a minute now, but Bahamas Christian Council President Dr. Ranford Patterson is telling our news that he still feels not enough is being done to address the issue of crime in the country. In a recent interview with our Kyle Joaquin, Patterson called on the government as well as the Royal Bahamas Police Force to do more.
He's coming towards the end of his tenure as president of the Bahamas Christian Council. With 1 month left, Patterson is making way for the person who will succeed him. But the Christian Council president says even that person will have a lot to speak up for, one of which is the fight against crime.
For the last 6 years, I've been calling for one thing, and I'm still waiting for it to happen. I think the challenge that we have is we keep believing dealing with the big crimes is going to change anything. I'm a firm believer, unless we tackle the little minor crimes that happen in our country on a daily basis, and we must start with our traffic violations. Until we deal with those things, people always believe it's okay to break the law.
Just 3 weeks ago, National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage outlined some of the government's newest crime-fighting efforts, which include increased police presence on the streets, random searches, and mobile police vans. It was in response to 2 consecutive weeks filled with bloodshed. Patterson says while greater police presence is always a good thing, criminals still have no fear of the consequences that come with breaking the law.
And if we break the small laws, we're going to break the medium one, we're going to break the large ones. If we can curtail the small traffic infractions and all the little petty stuff that we allow to go unabated, I believe crime will cease tremendously in this country. The reason people commit crime is because they have no fear that the police is around.
When it comes to more police on the streets, Patterson says it's still not enough, even for the busy Carmichael Road where his church is located. He says police presence isn't as it should be.
If we deal with the small crimes, we have police around who deals with the traffic violators, who, when you run the light, the police is there to give you a ticket. Every time you run that light, you get a ticket. And when you get 3 tickets, whatever happens to you, you will not run the light again. And if you don't run the light, you're going to do something else again. I firmly believe the people who run the light, people who make the 3rd lanes, these are the criminals in most cases. They might have the guns in their cars, but they know that there's nobody around.
And Patterson says he's not speaking from secondhand information.
This morning I was on the light. This car came around me in the red light on and just ran the light. Nothing happened. So it shows that the lawlessness that we have in our country is because we don't deal with the small things. We allow the small things to go unabated. And if we continue to do that, I believe the big crimes will continue to haunt us for the rest of our lives. Let's fix the road traffic violations. Let's fix the small crimes that are happening in our country. And I guarantee you, those big crimes, they will take care of themselves because people will then know that the police is everywhere.
Reporting for our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson is again defending the Swift Justice Program, insisting it is making real progress towards improving the justice system.
Last year, 40 matters were disposed of within a year of charge. And the year before, we had 7 murders tried and convictions obtained within a year of charge. So that kind of ability to swiftly move matters through the system.
Maynard Gibson added that the government is committed to creating a safer Bahamas in the wake of record-breaking murders. For this reason, she says the government has implemented 10 new criminal courts in order to increase the number of criminal matters disposed before the courts. She says the Swift Justice Program aims to modernize the judicial system in the Bahamas, and Maynard Gibson says despite what anyone says, they have gotten positive results and the public is responding.
But I think Bahamians, certainly as I speak to people in the food store, etc., and they stop me on the street and so forth, people are feeling the difference. They're able to bring closure to matters that have tremendously impacted their family. And so that's what we're doing, making sure that people can continue to see those improvements and to, more importantly, feel those improvements in the system.
Meantime, a trial date has been set for a French-Canadian mother of 3 accused of the statutory rape of a teenager she met while on a cruise to the Bahamas back in January. 23-year-old Karine Gagné of Quebec is charged with unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor that allegedly occurred while on the Norwegian cruise lines at Great Stirrup Cay. She appeared in court before Justice Bernard Turner on Friday, where she pled not guilty to the charge. The trial has been set for June 6. But until then, she will remain on remand at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. Gagné is represented by Tonique Lewis of Monroe and Associates. In other news, after announcing that customs and immigration officers would receive payment at the end of February, that payment has since been delayed. The Minister of Labor and union representatives have been going back and forth for months about monies owed, and the minister says he's had enough. Giorgio Bain reports.
After months of back and forth between the Minister of Labor and the union representing customs and immigration officers, a date was announced for officers to be paid. However, Shane Gibson said to his disappointment, those officers have yet to receive their money. Gibson had expected hundreds of officers to be paid this week, but due to delays at the Ministry of Finance, that did not happen. Gibson said he's disappointed, but it's out of his hands.
It was disappointing to me that we would have an agreement to pay the end of this week, and then I would hear all sorts of excuses as to why it couldn't be done. I know that the process is tedious. I know that it is very intense because you have to actually go and input these one at a time, unlike when you have an increase straight across the board when you could just apply it across the board. I understand that. But my problem is they told me in the meeting that it would be paid. I announced that it would be paid and when it would be paid, and now they're telling me they're looking at a new date. And so that's why I'm disappointed.
Gibson says he understands how the officers must feel, and his ministry received hundreds of applications from officers requesting payment.
We received, I think, 519 out of maybe 560 plus employees in customs. And so I think it was over 90% of the persons applied. Immigration, I think we received 170 odd letters for payment, which is about maybe 60%. I think you have roughly about 300 immigration officers. And so everybody wanted to be paid.
Gibson predicted that Union President Sloan Smith would have something to say about the delay, but insisted what he needs from Smith is a commitment to execute the industrial agreement.
No, I don't have Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, no, he's not in this equation. He's not in this equation. He had an opportunity to sign the industrial agreement. He didn't sign it. He continued to waver. He has not contacted me, even sent, no matter what he tells you. Right? He just loves the press. He loves coming on television. So he'll run down to you and talk to you every day. But he'll never come and do what he's supposed to with the union members. And that's why the members came directly to the government, because they were not receiving the benefits they should have received through the union.
Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Still to come on our news, the Organization for Responsible Governance urging government for more public consultation on the Interception of Communications Bill.